Well, thank you everyone for coming to our presentation today. So QQ and I will take you through information about our final project, which is Garden Genius, and excited to share with you all what we've created. Just to take you through a quick high level of what we'll be sharing today, I'll be going through an introduction for the project, as well as the user requirements that we defined, and then the conceptual design phase. And then QQ will go through the detailed design, our evaluation process, and then a conclusion of the project. And feel free to jump in with questions, and we'll also have time at the end for questions as well. So to start with an overview of our project was Garden Genius. This is an app that uses both AI and AR, to create garden designs for home gardeners. It's a place where users can go to get expert help for their gardens, and they can also talk to one another in a community setting. And this is really for all levels of home gardeners in one comprehensive app. Our goal was to leverage the human-centered design principles that we've been learning about through our program the past few years to design this app and create it both comprehensive, intuitive, and engaging for home gardeners. We really wanted this to be kind of a one-stop shop for folks who are looking to build and design their home gardens. The first thing we did was define user requirements because we wanted to know what was out there, what users were expecting. And so the first thing that we did was conduct a literature review. We focused our literature review on AR and AI-based technologies just because we knew we wanted to incorporate these and we wanted to do so in a responsible manner. So we consulted 9 different sources on user interaction with these different technologies. And we found out that the motivation for using AR include things such as gaining fit confidence before buying a product or increasing social value. And that because AR is integrated in the user space, there's this intimate relationship between them and the technology that you might not see with other technological recommendations. So trust is especially important when using AR technology. We've also found that trust was important while using AI technology as well. It can be used for recommendation-based systems or algorithm image classification, but really transparency and explainability can help increase trust for users when using AI. And so the large takeaway here was that because we'll have these personalized recommendations at the heart of our app, and we want to leverage both AR and AI technologies, we wanted to make sure that users felt both a sense of trust and familiarity when using the app, since it will be integrated into their personal space. The next thing we did was look at a variety of different plant care and gardening and AR decor apps just to get a sense for what is already out there and benchmark our intended user experience. So we looked at a few different categories of apps and looked at from the perspective of design, customization, visualization, guidance, and help and interaction, as we wanted all those things to be present in our own app. And we found that while there are many different platforms right now and resources for gardening, there is no one comprehensive platform where folks can go get information and also engage in the community aspect of gardening as well. It seems like AR technology is mature enough to be integrated into different platforms, apps like the IKEA AR design app where you can see furniture in the room around you were positively rated by users with some caveats such as difficulty scaling and difficulty with integration. So we wanted to make sure that it would smoothly integrate into the visualizations around the user. We also conducted a user study. This was just to understand the need and pain points in gardening design and planning from actual users, people who are interested in gardening today, and also evaluate the effectiveness of using AR features within a gardening platform. So we conducted interviews with an N of 8 and then also 2 focus groups, each with 2 people. And we targeted folks who are interested in gardening, again, because this would be our intended user. We tried to get a range of demographics. So we ended up with 9 female through male participants and then an age range from 25 to 70, so really spanning across the ages. We had a mix of apartment renters and homeowners, and then also a mix of gardening types. So 7 folks did both indoor and outdoor gardening, 3 indoor only and 2 outdoor only. We found from these interviews that most participants are not currently satisfied with their gardens, and this may be due to lack of knowledge to design gardens, lack of time, or a limited budget. Participants also mentioned that they would want a more comprehensive platform instead of just a garden design app, since the garden design can happen at the beginning of your gardening experience, but over time you might want ways to track and care for your plants all on the same resource instead of going to a different resource. People said that their main reason for gardening were to achieve a sense of natural beauty within their space, integrate with nature, and feel a sense of achievement for taking care of something living. And that if we were to use AI, they would definitely want it to be accurate. Otherwise, they would not trust the recommendations given by the AI algorithm. Lastly, all participants were interested in embracing the benefits of AR to visualize garden designs and felt like this was an interesting way to integrate design features within the gardening space. From our user study, we created a couple personas that we would use to later help evaluate our design. So we created two personas. The first was a couple, Randy and Emma, who are in their 30s. They're restaurant owners in Michigan, and they just bought a new house. So thanks to all their hard work in the restaurant, they can now afford a house with a large garden, but they want to make sure that their garden is designed nicely and that it is within their budget. So this represented folks in our user study who may not have a lot of knowledge about gardening right now and maybe have just upgraded their space and really want a place to dive in to that complete gardening experience if they haven't had that already. Our second persona was John, who grew up in a suburban home outside of LA. He always had lots of outdoor space around him, but then when he moved into an apartment for his first job, he suddenly had limited outdoor space. He wants to recreate the feeling of having a natural sense within his home, but also wants to make sure that the plants are carefully curated and are safe for his dog who lives with him. So this represents our user study participants who may live in a smaller space right now, but still want the benefits of garden care and garden design. The next phase of our project, after defining those user requirements, were the conceptual design phase. The first one was ideation. So we took all of our user study findings and we created an affinity map to see what sorts of things that were coming up in our user interviews. We found that there are 6 categories that folks were really focusing on. One was design, there are benefits of gardening, AR and AI sentiment, as we asked about that, features they wanted in an app, pain points, and then also labor within the garden. So from that affinity map and the ideas that we had come up with through our own personal experience or benchmarking, we came up with 50 ideas of functions that we might want to integrate into Garden Genius. And these were functions that were not always technologically feasible, but we wanted to first create a wide breadth of functions and then narrow it down after that, just so we could really be as creative as possible in our brainstorming. And then after we brainstormed, we had over 50 ideas, like I mentioned, which are too many ideas to put into one app. So we created a second affinity map to see where these different ideas fell into. And we found another 6 categories that were coming out of most of our ideas. So these were design, labor, care, community, finance, and record of the garden. We then created an idea book where we had each of the ideas sorted into these different categories, and we rated each one on a 5-point scale in terms of technological feasibility and then intended user satisfaction as well. And so this helped us narrow down ideas so that we're only looking at those that would be relatively feasible in this day and age, and then also would cause a great amount of user satisfaction. And so here's the second part of our idea book, and the idea book flushed each one of these out into its full page. So a very long book that shows all our ideas. Next, we came up with a conceptual storyboard. So we wanted to create a storyboard first that showcased both some of the ideas we wanted to integrate in the app, but then also some of the ideas that we would not be able to integrate in the app that were just too infeasible for this moment in time, just to see what the full scope of the app could be given no technological limits. So I'll play the storyboard now. It does not have any sound, but you should be able to read the captions of it. Okay, so apologies that you couldn't hear the narration of that, but we focused on both ideas that we wanted to incorporate into the app, such as the AR garden design, but then also ones that would be infeasible. So the integration with Zillow, the robots to help with garden care, all those would be great features. We decided to not include those in our final prototype. The next thing we came up with was a graphic user interface concept. We chose a few of Jacob Nielsen's 10 heuristics for user interface design to focus on. These were consistency and standards. So we wanted the app to meet the mental models of the gardeners who would be using it. So the information we learned from the user study. We wanted flexibility and efficiency of use to make sure that the app was easily operable by people of all different backgrounds and gardening levels. We wanted user control and freedom, which would allow users to exit out of a flow or undo their last action, especially during the AR design process. We also focused on match between system and real world, so following real world conventions within our design concept, and then aesthetics and minimalist design. We wanted a simple and clear UI style for our app. Here is the UI style that we came up with. We wanted these clear, minimalistic icons that were easily recognizable by folks. The color palette we chose was a serene color palette, natural colors to remind folks of gardening, but also with a pop of color as well. And then this very legible sans serif typography. The next thing we did was organize all of our down-selected functions into an information architecture board. So we had 5 top-level functions. The first was My Garden. So this is where folks could go to add gardening tasks, monitor their gardens, listen to music, kind of a homepage of sorts. Then we had the AR Gardener, where folks could go and talk to an AI recommendation bot to help design their garden and care for their plants with the help of AR. Next, we had Garden Lovers, which is what we're calling our community feature, where people could go ask questions from their community, go see other people's gardens and get inspiration. We had the market section where people could buy gardening products directly through the app. And then finally, settings, where folks could look at their profile and change the settings there. We did this mainly to both lay out the functions that we actually wanted to incorporate in the app and then also see the relationship between multiple functions. So something like if the AR gardener shows you recommended tools, being able to buy those through the market directly. Next, we created wireframes. And again, this wasn't to match our UI style. This was really just to lay out what the app might look like. And so we made a wireframe for each of those 5 different functions in the information architecture. And in doing this, we actually decided we wanted to change around the layout a little bit. We decided that instead of having a whole screen like this for settings on the right-hand side, we wanted to embed those into the user profile section and really focus this screen on more of a user profile. And so it's a little bit more dynamic. It doesn't take up a lot of real estate on the bottom bar since folks are used to having settings embedded within kind of a personalized user profile homepage. Lastly, we created a low fidelity prototype. This included the same style that we had used for our wireframes, but it delved a little deeper into one of the user tasks, which would be finding the AR garden layouts. And after that, we're ready to create our detailed design. So I'll pass it off to QQ for that.
Thank you, Nia. For the prototypes, we designed garden genus with 5 main functionalities to address various gardening needs. Now let's look at how we translate these features into our high-fidelity prototype. Nia can play the video. The first function is our garden management. Users can track plant types, manage expenses, integrate garden facilities, and even enjoy music playlists tailored to enhance gardening productivity. And next one is our AI dialogue with the AR support. For this function, users can consult our AI assistant, the Garden Genius, for design ideas, plant identification, and gardening solutions. These functions are all supported by our AR visualization. They can even buy things directly from the AR visualization. And for the socialization function, our app fosters a vibrant gardening community where users can share their gardens, ask questions, and connect with like-minded enthusiasts. Next one, for the shopping, with AI-powered recommendations and AR previews, users can directly purchase gardening tools and supplies. For the profile management, users can manage their posts and track their activity on the app. The final storyboard is both practical and realistic, improving upon the earlier version. Our first story features Emma, a new homeowner eager to create her dream garden. Using the Garden Genius app, she visualized how garden would look in winter and even 10 years from now. Delighted with the result, Emma purchased her plants directly through the app. With Garden Genius, her dream garden is just around the corner. And next, the second story introduces John, who enjoys walking his dog, Lucas. Concerned about safety, John uses Garden Genius to scan the environment, ensuring there are no poisonous plants that could harm the dog. Thankfully, the area is safe. During the walk, John spots a beautiful plant he would love to have at home. Garden Genius identifies the plant instantly, allowing him to purchase it right away. So both stories showcase how Garden Genius make gardening intuitive, safe, and accessible. Next comes the evaluation. To ensure our app meets user expectations and create a good user experience, we conducted 2 usability studies with 6 participants for each. As we don't want the user to learn from previous experience on the app, we invited different users for the 2 tests. And these studies helped us identify areas for improvement. And next, here are the assessment methods for the performance of the original prototype and the iterative ones. We used an online usability test platform called Maze to gather the quantitative data. And for the SUA score, we used the Google form to gather the feedbacks. Next one. We designed 6 tasks for the 5 functions, with 2 tasks for our highlighted function, the AI consulting embedded with the AR. The first task reviews several usability issues that hinder ease of use. Users struggle with the absence of a tutorial or onboarding process, which left them uncertain about how to navigate the app's features. Additionally, unclear wording such as the Explore tab for the socialization feature caused confusion, and some icons, particularly those for the AI and the device controls, were believed to be unintuitive. And the quantitative data from the test further highlighted these challenges. The SUA score for the prototype was 67, categorized as marginally acceptable. And the next one, please. So based on our user feedback, we implement changes like adding onboarding tutorials. Next, rename functions for clarity, such as we change the name for socialization from explore to community. We add text bubble to the wrap-up button to indicate that users can talk to it. Next one. And we abandon our first immersive full-screen style of the AI dialogue and add a navigation bar to the bottom so that we can offer our users more options when they want to exit from this function. Next. And we also update icons for better recognition. So from the comparison of the 2 test results, though there is no difference between the task completion rate, the time needed to complete a task is greatly shortened. Next one. And the misclick rate dropped dramatically, and the heat map shows that users are more confident in finding the right path when they are doing the test on the revised prototype. Next one. This enhancement improved the app's usability score from 67 to 77, making it to an acceptable level. And we also get some positive qualitative comments from our users. In conclusion, for the limitations of the project, we only had 2 members. We could have generated more ideas in the ideation phase if we could have more members. And as neither of us are from the design background, we have many problems in realizing the AI and AR function in building the prototype. And however, the project outcomes highlight the potential for garden genius to serve as the first one-stop solution for gardening. And it can also set as a new benchmark for gardening applications. The cooperation of AI and AR also demonstrates the broader potential of these technologies to transform everyday experience in meaningful ways. Looking ahead, Garden Genius is promising for future development, including broader usability testing, feature expansion, and potential commercialization. As for the last, we would like to take this moment to express our gratitude to Dr. Kim for his invaluable guidance throughout the project. And a big thank you as well to our participants whose feedback was instrumental in shaping our app. And thank you all for your time and attention today. We are eager to hear your thoughts, answer questions,